Excellent. So everybody can hear me okay? Yes? Okay. Um, good. So this is the very first time I've done this type of call. So needless to say, I have to say, bear with me once again. I apologize for starting late and the confusion of the link. So first things first, we're going to go through, I don't know how many videos, because it really depends on everybody's questions during this time. So what I'm going to do is we're going to work on one video at a time. So I'm going to play a little bit and I'm going to share the screen so everybody can see this too. So what I'm going to do is explain a little bit. And then what I would like you to do is raise your hand. So I believe down in the participant area of your Zoom call, there should be a little arrow where you can raise your hand. So before we get started, I just want to see everybody's hand raised so I can make sure that that's working correctly and that you know how to do it correctly. Because this will be the way that you're going to tell me, thank you, and Caitlin, this is going to be the way that you can tell me that you have an actual question. So I will not go on to the next video until the whole screen is wiped clear of all the hands being raised. So I'm going to wait until everybody, I can't, it's different on my end because I'm the host as far as raising the hand. So the host can't raise their hand. So I need to see everybody else's hand raised. So I don't want to continue until everybody figures it out. The directions that I read is if you reach where it says participants on the bottom, do you have a participants little icon on the bottom? The little arrow next to it in that window, if you click on that, does it say raise hand in there? No. Okay, well, Google wasn't kind to me
I
then.
see that little dot 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 more icon, depending on what device you're on.
Oh yeah, and different, I didn't even think about the different devices thing.
So I went to participants and then I'm right by my name. I see mute and more, but I don't have that hand raise.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna figure this out.
Huh.
I see
Mine
it.
was under reactions with like a little smiley face on it. I don't know if that helps.
Oh, I do have a reactions
Because I
button.
have a Mac.
Okay, that's perfect then.
It does say raise hand.
Okay, so go ahead and raise it once you've, so it's under reactions then.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Thank you.
and then we can lower hand.
Yep. Brenda, are you able to find it?
I did it, yeah,
Okay.
but you couldn't
Kate,
see me.
yeah, I
Right.
think probably just because of the white background.
Okay.
Caitlin, you got it. Good. Christine, have you found it?
Oh, the white background.
No. Do you see the smiley face on the bottom where it says reactions? You got it. Okay. Perfect. Excellent, excellent. So let's do this. Good. Good, good, good. All right. So you can take your hands down for now. So first things first, there is a YouTube channel that I'm getting all these videos from. So I have to give credit where credit's due. This is called, it's a really weird YouTube name or YouTube channel name as far as what it has. So it's called Gumby's Imperial Media. That's the name of the YouTube channel. There are tons of these dog park videos. I caught onto this a couple of years ago. Watch them here or there. You'll see some captions and some reactions and stuff in the videos. You just kind of have to go beyond those so we can look a little deeper to actually what's going on. But I reached out to this person to see if I could use these videos, and they are excellent. So I do have 3 of these lined up. Plus, I don't know if you know, I have a Canines and Culture virtual 3-month training group. And so I have a video that one of the members sent in, just happened last week with their dog. So you're gonna see some stuff, some cool body language videos and such. And I'm just excited because I kind of geek out about this kind of stuff. So, and it looks like everybody else here does too, which is very cool. So I would say I'm just gonna mute a couple of you. And so this is the first time we're doing this, like I said. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to share sound. And then I just want to make sure everybody can see the screen with the big, huge English Mastiff on it. I have practiced this. I don't want you all to think that I'm brand new and I've done nothing with this. So I have put in a little bit of practice. All right. So here's the thing. So immediately we see the prong collar on here and a yellow caution collar on this dog, right? So this dog is at a dog park. So we shouldn't actually be taking dogs that have issues with other dogs to the dog park because this is the wild, wild west. So that's first things first here, okay? I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger.
So he's sociable.
This is commentary on their end. By the way, do you see this look right here? This is what they call the whale eye. You see the white of the eye? And this dog is leaning up against its owner too. So he's already unsure about what's going on, okay? And he's not a big fan of this dog being sniffing him. And there you go, right? So in this moment, if we look back at this again, and this dog being very unsure about what's going on, also, do you see up here too? Do you see the tension on the collar? So here's the, you probably hear if you do any dog park or any play dates thing, you hear people say, just take the dog off the leash. Well, part of the reason people take the dogs off the leash is because there's tension on the collar. And so when we pull back on the collar, it actually makes the dog want to go forward. If you look at how this looks right now, with this tension on the collar up here. And it's actually, yes, he's in the midst of lunging. This lady's already nervous about her dog lunging towards other dogs. So this is like what comes first, the cart or the horse, the chicken or the egg? Does the tension on the collar come first and then it creates the reaction? Or does the reaction come first, which causes the tension on the collar? And then over and over and over again, this just happens. So this is, and then watch what her reaction is to the dog. So here's the thing in these types of situations. This dog is not comfortable in this setting. And one of the worst things that we can do with a dog like this who's unsure about himself is to stay still. This guy should be moved around the park and shouldn't be kept in one area. So if you have a dog that is a little nervous of other dogs, we need to keep that dog moving in a social setting, which means you need to keep moving. So in this context, she kept this dog right here in this moment. And actually, I'm sure you've all heard of the fight or flight mechanism, right? We have it, animals have it. So the flight mechanism is actually removed from him because this is where obedience can get us into trouble, because in this moment, her putting him into a sit is her way of correcting things. He doesn't want this dog near him and he can't use his flight mechanism. So what is he supposed to use? So this is the reaction that comes out of this guy. And look, this English Mastiff is a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart. You can see it in him and in his energy, but he doesn't have the opportunity to express himself. Raise your hand if you think he's happy. Right? He's not.
He's like, I don't know if I don't be in my face. Yeah, I've heard that when they have the leash on, they feel kind of trapped. Well, he actually
So not only when they have a leash on do they feel trapped, but when they're made to sit and lie down in one area, they're going to made to be feel trapped as well. So this guy is made to be here. He can't use flight. He can't express himself through the snap towards the other dog to create space. This dog's just going to get worse and worse and worse in this scenario because he's not we're doing this the wrong way. Okay. Christine, go ahead.
I'm just wondering, like sometimes a dog, like you're sometimes it's really
So,
hard because
so
it's not-
I can't hear you, Christine.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me
That's okay.
now?
Yeah,
Yeah. So sometimes you say keep moving, and sometimes it's harder. Like if your dog is really a dog is really aroused, it's even though it probably wants to flee, it goes towards the other dog rather than away from it. I'm not sure about that behavior kind of confuses me sometimes. That, if you say keep moving, I guess if you're far enough away, you could keep moving. You just keep the distance between your dog and that dog they're uncomfortable with.
right.
But with my dog, if it was that close in that situation, then I'd have a really hard time. Like I can barely stay on my feet because she's going crazy and lunging.
Yeah.
But
So then we have to look at how are we socializing our dog and how are we setting our dog up for success. So if your dog is this Mastiff, then this is not the right setting. The right setting would be to find a friend with a dog and just walk together in the same direction. The best way for two dogs to meet is to actually walk together. I don't look for a perfect structured walk during that time either, because it's probably not going to happen, especially if your dog is aroused around other dogs. But I'm telling you, the more you walk and the more you walk and the more you walk, what happens is from the dog looking to the side and looking to the other dog and looking, pretty soon this gets tiring and they've got to face forward. You ever seen the home videos where people aren't paying attention? They're walking on the sidewalk. They're not paying attention because they're talking to their friend and then they hit the telephone pole, right? Or the mailbox or something. So dogs and animals, they do not walk long-term looking to the side. So that's why the forward movement helps the brain and helps the dog go forward. Good question. So I'm going to go to the next one here. Not the next video, just the next little piece of this.
Shake. You shake.
See, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these are subtle cues.
Shake.
Right there. That's the first part of it. Everybody thinks that the big reaction is the cue of what happened. This first little look here, especially, so this was all sequential. What I skipped over, there was no pausing, no from clip to clip. Okay, so we already know if a dog gets close, he's going to react. So here comes another dog in. So the pattern says he's going to react again. See, he's still not done. Do you guys see the focus? You see how he's still looking at this other dog? So he's still concerned. He's not like, I created my space. I'm good. I'm done. I can be happy-go-lucky again.
Yeah, listen.
And he's still not done. And she keeps yanking on the leash. To her defense, she doesn't know. So I'm not, please don't think that I'm like pointing fingers at her. But all these little things matter.
I don't think Winston's ever seen a dog that big.
And by the way, this does nothing. Everybody thinks that if we go and show our dog, our scared dog, that I can touch the other dog, that everything's okay. I've never seen anybody rehabilitate an aggressive dog from, hey, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to pet this other dog and then everything's cool. And then it's all rainbows and butterflies. It doesn't happen that way. Her intentions are good and her energy is good, but it's not going to solve anything. Because he's also unsure at this time too. You see how he keeps tracking him, right? Did you see that whole process? I'll show you again. As soon as he starts walking, you'll see the Mastiff. Look, see, he's like, where's that guy going?
I think you're right. It seems like he's kind of, as long as I'm not holding on to him.
And he's still looking at him outside of the camera. Yeah, Christine.
are you going to say something about the body language of the gray dog as well?
Yeah, we can certainly talk about it. Because the gray dog actually did well here. I think he was a little stunned.
Shake.
And I will tell you too, just so there's full transparency here, that gray dog is the owner of the YouTube channel's dog. So that dog's been in this scenario. I mean, I don't even know how many times.
I think I'm gonna get down. My mom's gonna make me get down again. No.
So the good part about this is that the gray dog stays still. Right? He's staying neutral. Yes, the tail's up. He's tense because he's like, holy heck, what just happened? So he did very well staying neutral. He didn't go into the flight mode, and he also didn't go back into the you came after me, so I have to go after you stage. Because then you have a whole issue in itself. Retaliation is really what it is. And you can see how still, actually too, is the gray dog here. If I just rewind this just a little bit, watch the gray dog's mouth. Look at his jowls. You see how much he's licking his lips and moving things around? He's just trying to figure out what's going on and what just happened. See, when she comes over, he changes his state of mind because he's more social. Her Mastiff didn't.
I think you're right. It seems like it's kind of, as long as I'm not holding on to him.
You see? So let me go on to the next one here.
So they don't breed them very long. Easy.
It's like Jaws.
Leave it. Leave it.
The other dogs kind of look like.
They look like you're stupid.
Look at this again. Look at what she's already doing. Do you see her hand? So she's already preparing him for the reaction. And you see, I pause it perfectly where his tongue is sticking out. Him licking his lips is him trying to figure this situation out as well. This is another sign that because it happens so fast, it's like a snake. The tongue goes out and comes right back in, and this can be combustible. Yeah, Jess.
I've heard that it kind of means like creating space from another dog. Is that true? When
The licking,
yeah.
I've never heard it put in that context before. In my situation, or I shouldn't say in my experience, like training one-on-one with a dog, when they're trying to understand what we want, or we're trying to teach them a pattern, whether it's obedience or play or whatever, you may see them kind of go back and forth with their tongue. This to me is them trying to process everything that's going on. You will also, this is the really great part about dog body language. You will probably see this if they wake up and they stretch and they yawn, they'll do the same thing, which is a completely different context than what this Mastiff is going through right here. So the ugly part about dog body language is that you can have one signal mean different things. And I think that's where there's a lot of confusion amongst us dog owners, is that we see something, we look at it in context and we go, well, that means that. And then we label it, and then we don't realize that the dog does it in other contexts as well. So to give you an example, I'm sure everybody has seen a dog, they kind of hang their paw up in the air, right? Like one of their front legs, they kind of hang it up. Okay, so that can be done when a dog is unsure or nervous. It can be like a bird dog that is pointing at a bird that they found in the woods. They'll lift that leg up while they're pointing with their nose and their body. And it can also be just before a dog gets into a fight with another dog. So those are three humongous differences for just one action with their body. So that's where the waters get really muddied when it comes to body language. So we have the hand on the collar back here. By the way, her hand, that would not be the place that I would put my hand inside in between all those prongs either. That's a recipe for disaster. But also she's pulling on that, which is just the chain part of the prong underneath as well. The other thing too is I would never put a prong collar on a dog in a social setting, because if anything gets caught in that collar, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly. So if you're socializing your dogs at all, make sure that they have a quick release collar on, meaning all you have to do is pinch either side and it pops off. So there shouldn't be any prong collars, choke chains, martingale collars, belt buckle type collars. Those are a no-go as well, because those get tight and sometimes you can't, like with the belt, right? You actually have to tighten it for just a quick moment before it loosens up, right? So those are some of the things that, some of the tools that we don't use when we're socializing dogs.
Leave it. Leave it.
The other dogs.
By the way, this whole time she's kept the dog in the same spot, the whole, right? Like, so how else, he has to feel confined. So if he feels confined and he's not allowed to defend himself, then what is he allowed to do? You see, can be really difficult, really difficult.
Kind of look
I
like.
like you're stupid. You're gonna get used to it.
By the way, this dog's father was like 280 pounds or something.
Man, I've never even seen one of them.
Just
So do you have to
kinda
get
crazy.
imported, or what? I mean,
No, he actually comes from because he goes to work with me. He hasn't gone to my new job site yet, even though they have a dog park like right where I'm working. But and he just he'll get used to it.
hey! Don't do that, Winston.
See, that's his dog.
Don't do that. Jeez.
So you see what's going on here? So this is the other part of when we go to dog parks. And this is the part that tends to bother me a little bit, is that everybody's talking with everybody and we're not paying attention to our dogs. So if this was all in the same session, which I'm assuming it is, because I think she's in the same clothing that she was in. So this is all in the same day, same session, is that he's already done this to this dog once, and he's done it to a couple of other dogs. So this is the thing, you may have seen me in social media talk about patterns. This is a pattern. So if this is a pattern that ends up in a negative behavior, then why do we keep putting our dog into that situation? Because he's going to fail. Even if he comes out of this dog park and he got along with one dog, but he failed 7 times, what are we doing? We're literally setting this guy up to fail for every single interaction almost that he has. So he's already locked on to this gray dog, and this gray dog can sense it and feel it. There's no getting around it at all. Especially too for the gray dog, he's like, okay, you did this once. Is this going to happen again? Which is also part of the reason that he kind of went back. So here's something very subtle that I want you to see. Do you guys see the Mastiff's mouth? You see that? You see how it's open? Watch it close just before he reacts. Right there. You see how subtle that was? This is the body language that when he goes from the panting, from to the mouth closed, is when everything changes in his head, where he's like, okay, I have to do something about this. I don't want a dog in my space. My owner's not advocating for me, which even if you had a dog like this and you're in this setting, every dog that came over to me, I would send away. Like, you are not allowed into our space. So at least this Mastiff would know, like, the human has things under control. The human can make these dogs go away. I don't have to be responsible for it every single time, because currently he's responsible for it every time. So that little change from the mouth open to being closed. Now, what I want you to understand is that if your dogs are doing this and your dogs are tense and that they go from panting to mouth closed, I'm not saying that your dog's going to go into like an attack mode at that time. What I'm saying is that's when the tension changes. And I've seen plenty of dogs go from mouth open to closed and then back open again. So this is the contextual part of it. But this is when he's locked in. And of course, the pit bull with his ears laid right back, right? Pinned right back, knows something's up. And then this is when it changes. That was actually a good little like left cross across the face from the pit bull. He didn't like go with his mouth to start with. It was more of like he's just trying to push him back, probably because of his social skills and being in this setting so many times. So this is actually a bad position for this owner to be in. And I know this happened probably in less than 2 seconds. We have to stick up for our dog, right? I mean, if we have to bump a dog out of the way or something like that, then we do. But right now, this gray pit bull is somewhat in between her and her dog, because you can see the angle of the leash going up here towards her with tension on the collar while he's trying to go in the opposite direction. Right? So he's trying to figure things out. So not only that, we have a fence right here. So this Mastiff is now away from its owner, it has a dog in its face, has a fence on the other side, and has nowhere to go. So luckily, like I said, this Mastiff is an absolute sweetheart, like to the core, but is having to create and do all these big, huge reactions to create space for himself or herself. So, and the more I see this, the prong collar has reversed itself. Do you see that? So now the spikes are sticking out instead of in. I didn't notice that before when I was been looking at these videos beforehand. See how he's backing away, trying to get away? Marina, yeah. I can't hear you. Nope. Nope. That's okay. I went through 15 minutes of things not working for myself, so don't feel bad. That's okay. You can type it in the chat if you want to. It may pop up for us there. You just probably have to go down to your microphone and change what your microphone setting is on. Good. So that's it of this video. Does anybody have any questions for this video besides Marina? Everybody's good? No questions? Yes? Okay.
Can you hear me now, maybe?
Ah, there you are.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I had to put my speakers on.
Okay, I'll go back to this.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
And first of all, sorry for my English.
You're
I'm
fine.
not American, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Okay.
From my point of view, because you said, not you, sorry, but the guy from the video,
Yeah.
he wrote down like that. He started it. From my point of view, the Great Pit Bull started it.
In
I
what
don't know
way?
if- Well, let's see. From my understanding, when a dog like the Mastiff is insecure and is afraid,
Yeah.
a socialized dog is going to ignore it or even pass through him and not try to defy him or nothing like that. And from my point of view, the Great Pit Bull passes right beside him already with a changed energy. He's not neutral. And for an insecure dog like the Mastiff, that's not good. That's not a good energy. So the pit bull is not showing him a good, friendly, sociable energy. That's what I saw.
Okay. Let me go back here.
And I'm just saying that because he wrote down that he started it. And I don't agree with him.
Yeah.
Before that.
Yep, I'm going back. Yep.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I know right where you're.
He hasn't gone to my new job site yet, even though they have a dog park like right where I'm working. But
I'm going to pause it as soon as we see the gray dog.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So this look here, this is a lot of eye contact from the gray dog.
Yeah, right
Right?
before that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
when he arrives here by the side, he's not even looking at the Mastiff, but he's already tense.
Yeah. So so they didn't show much of it in this part of the clip, maybe the first one.
See, because the Mastiff
'Cause-
there is okay. Okay. Oh, so that's what happened. He turned the part of the clip.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So
could be.
are you thinking more it was like the first clip where he was right there?
Yeah, no, because he just changed. Well, the clip was turned, and maybe I didn't catch that on the.
Yeah, it was the
On the right
edited part
moment.
of it.
Yeah,
But see,
because
to me, like, so the pit bull looked at him and then he's looking away and his
Yeah.
mouth is open here too.
Mhm.
So, but his ears are laid back. So there is some communication of kind of like,
there is
okay,
a lot
like,
of communication. Yes.
yeah,
This is
like
not right.
yeah, there's something going on. He's already launched at me once. Is this
Mhm.
what are we doing? Kind of, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm.
But again, this is the time for this person, the owner, to be like,
Of
you need to
course.
get out of here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Totally advocate for your dog and
Totally.
say,
Yeah.
yes, because like I said, otherwise we just keep setting this dog up to fail
Mhm.
over and over again. And I'm telling
No,
you, when a
on that I
Mastiff,
agree. Sorry.
yeah, when a Mastiff like this gets to be aggressive, this dog turns into a missile
Mhm.
because there's so much weight behind him and so
Yes.
much energy. It's very difficult to handle.
Yeah. No, on that I agree 100% with you. It's her role to interfere in this situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
Good. Christine.
Yeah, and just in the same topic, is the gray pit bull hanging around? Like the Mastiff is trying to tell the pit bull, give me space, give me more space. And the pit bull is just hanging around. And is he just hanging around because this is a training setup and the owner and the pit bull's owner is hanging around? Because if it was my dog looks exactly like that gray pit bull, but
Okay.
I would, I kind of feel like the pit bull is a little bit at fault that he's remaining in the Mastiff space. And usually I would expect them to take the signal, like that dog is not friendly and does not want me around. And then they go and they find something else to do and sniff. But unless, I mean, the guy with the video camera obviously is standing right there. And if it's the owner of the pit bull, that might be why the pit bull is there.
Very true. Yep. But so to me, so to answer your question, like in this freeze frame that I've got right here, so to me, the pit bull is in avoidance. So he's already going like, I got it. My ears are laid back. I already know you've done this once. My mouth is open. So he's not like holding himself super duper tense. So he's still kind of showing like, I'm here sideways. I'm not turning and facing you directly with my chest out and my chin up. So in this context, it really comes down. This is to the owner, like what Marina was saying. This comes down to the owner, and just honestly, when a dog is like this in this pit bull, and you just tell this pit bull to go, just like take a couple of more steps. That may be all that this Mastiff needs is a couple of more steps, and then the Mastiff goes, "Oh my gosh, you understand me. That's all I needed. That's it." It's just a couple of steps. That's all this dog wants is space. That's all that he wants. But he's confined. See, it was actually the Mastiff going down quickly that spooked the gray pit bull for him to turn at him. And then that's when it started back and forth. Yeah. Good. Any other questions about this one? No? Good. Okay. Do you guys like this so far? Yes?
Someone typed in the chat.
Oh. Hold on, I gotta get to it. There it is. Should the owner of the Mastiff drop the leash at the time the pit bull court?
Yeah. It's Anne. What do you like? I was thinking like, what do you do in that situation? Obviously it stopped, things calmed a bit, but like, if you're what do you do? Right?
I think for me in that moment, I would probably have swung myself around. So are you talking? Yeah. So like
where they're up against the fence.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
I was like,
Yep. Yeah, so when they're in here, right?
Obviously, you don't want to be in that situation, but
Right,
you know,
right.
yes, yeah. What do you
Yes.
do?
This is when I would have spun myself around to get to the other side of the pit bull.
Got okay.
That's
So to
that's the
get like on the other side of the Mastiff too, right? So the
yes,
leash was okay.
yes. So
Got it.
here's the thing, especially if you have your dogs on a leash in a social setting. You never, ever, ever want some random dog between you and your dog that's on leash.
Got it. Yeah.
Ever. That's like the no fly zone. Okay. So you have to do literally, sometimes you have to do a dance, because oftentimes dogs go nose to butt, right? And they start doing the yin and yang thing. And so
Yeah.
you need to be on the outside of that the whole time.
Okay.
Because what happens is so Anne, let's say you and I are face to face with our dogs meeting, right?
Mhm.
Your dog gets between me and my dog gets between, right? So now,
Yeah.
so if anything happens in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
your reaction and probably my first reaction is to take the leash and we pull it tight, which actually sandwiches the dogs together. And now we have a whole other bigger problem.
Okay.
The good move the Mastiff actually did was that he didn't go forward, even though the tension of the leash said, come back to me. He's like, I don't want to get near that dog. The dog just like threw its paw on my face and growled at me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
Yeah. This is a great video. I mean, there's so
Good.
much.
There's so much. That's why I don't want to I don't want to just like fly over it. Yeah, Brenda, go ahead.
Can you comment on the gray pet right now in this clip? Look at, his head's really erect, his ears are erect and straight down, and he's kind of giving the look like, brother, back off.
Yeah, that to me is follow through.
Yeah.
Right? So the Mastiff kind of came at him. He went back. He threw his left cross, right? The left cross is really what made that Mastiff go, oh my gosh, I got to like back up.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You're going to see it in another video too. Here's the thing. When there's tension among dogs, oftentimes if one of them backs up, the other one will take that space. And if they back up, they'll take that space. Okay. So what happened here, the Mastiff backed up and then the pit bull is now moving in. So this is him asserting himself. And now this relationship, to a degree, can't even call it a relationship, more of an interaction. But this dynamic would start to figure itself out if there were no humans and no dogs around, it would have figured itself out.
Yeah.
Right. But this guy would have probably like stood his ground. He's a social dog. I've watched a ton of his videos before. I've never seen this dog get into like a fight. You'll see him get intense in another video. But he has a lot of restraint, which is a good thing, because both these dogs are big, strong dogs. So yeah. Any other questions about this? Caitlin? Yeah.
Yeah, so my dog is very similar to the gray one. And so kind of just to answer a question and maybe have a question myself too. She does that same thing where like she's showing that she's chill and like trying to give the dog another chance.
Yeah.
And like kind of showing a bit of avoidance, like, hey, I'm not a threat, like we're okay.
Yeah.
So I think that could also be happening here, maybe like a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause like okay.
I mean, I definitely felt like back in this scenario, if I can get to it perfectly here. Back in this scenario, just before this, is when this pit bull was right there, right? Like the Mastiff looked at him, the pit bull went, yeah, okay, all right, I'm gonna look the other way. So the pit bull doesn't want conflict here. I mean, this Mastiff's looking at him like, are we gonna have to throw down here or what? And the pit bull chose to look away. So that's all we can ask of a dog, is to just go into that avoidance signal, or that avoidance state of mind. So, but you see, it's the original jump down, right? This is what I mean, is this Mastiff doesn't have the confidence or the wherewithal, the assertiveness to control a situation. So he went down first. hoping maybe that would scare him off, and it spooked the pit bull because he wasn't looking at him. So it happened, you know, from a dog that's already launched at me once. So it's a lot to take in for that pit bull to not react again. Any other questions? And Caitlin, did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely.
Good, good. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is a fun one too. So this is probably about a 3-minute video. If you want, I can break it down as we go along, or if you want, I can play the whole thing and then we can go back to the beginning. So give me a show of hands. Who wants to watch the whole thing through first? Okay. Okay, we'll do it.
What's up, Dale? Dale. Dale.
Nothing like going to the dog park to dig holes. At least it's not at home. Look at the hackles up on that dog.
Come here.
Pretty cool video, right? Pretty cool interaction. Okay, let's break this down. First of all, the interaction between these two, this pointer, the tail's like a little rattlesnake, right? It's just like vibrating. You just want to put some rattles on it just to see if you can like hear it. The other part of it, this tan dog, I think his name is Dale, right? From the beginning of the video or whatever. So he carries himself pretty confidently, you know, as we go through this. So this is what I mean. I'm not sure who just had this question or I was explaining this to about the dog's space. When they take a step back, the other one will move in. So I want you to watch how subtle this is. Right there. You see how he moves in to take that space? So that's his way of asserting. This is why when I have training clients, we talk about how space is a resource. And so if your dog is always leaning into you and you're always backing up and they keep taking that space, or if the dog is on the couch with you and they're leaning into you and you keep moving over, they keep taking that space, or whether it's in bed or whether it's guests that come over, anytime this type of thing happens, it keeps, you know, if you have happy-go-lucky dog that you have zero wrong with, it's not, you have nothing to worry about. If you have a dog that has some other behavioral things, you're gonna have to be like, what are we gonna do about this? So that's the first time he fended the pointer off.
What's up, Dale?
And by the way, this has nothing to do with protecting his friends, just so you know. Nothing. Okay. See right here, the pointer starts moving away. What does Dale do? Keeps moving into the space, right? So you kind of have this like retreat, forward movement kind of action going on. And I will tell you, this pointer, Jessica, you're overstimulated. And it is a ton of male posturing. It absolutely is, right? For sure. So this pointer, I feel like his intention is to mount Dale, like this whole time, or at least be very forward with his back end. Okay. And this is where you're going to see this kind of start to progress. See how he takes the space? There's number two, the second time he's fended him off. All right, so this is important to watch. So Jess, go ahead, especially since I'm just in between.
Yeah, for what purpose are you thinking that the humping, you know, him wanting to hump?
I think it's excitement from this pointer. So a lot of times people will think that the humping is going to be because it's a dominance ritual. So just like I explained the whole like paw lifting in the air thing.
Yeah.
So mounting another dog can definitely be a dominant thing. However, I just don't see it that much. It can also be, I'm just so excited, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to climb on you. I see that, and I've seen it a lot in the daycare world. It just is like some dogs are like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, so they just like climb on. I've also seen dogs do it to calm down other dogs too.
Okay.
In this situation, this pointer, I feel like he's just so excited and he likes this guy. He likes Dale, and I don't think Dale's a big fan of him or the amount of energy he's bringing into the situation. That's my interpretation of this. And you're gonna see a nice little like, look, you see how much he's actually leaned into Dale now. So he's towing the line a lot with this stuff with Dale, and it's a good thing Dale's like this, because this would turn into a snap or a lunge or something like that if it's the wrong dog, you know. See, he's trying to get around to the back end, but Dale stays straight at him. So that's the third time he sent him away. And this time he's like, yeah, I'm just going to come back. So we have the same conversation, it's just in a different area now. And he's gonna go mark the tree. And now we're gonna start to do the, see how he's trying to get to the back and Dale's not letting him? That's why he keeps turning and facing. He's like, you are not allowed back there. That is off limits. That's why he just keeps turning and facing him. He's gonna do it again. So here's one thing I want you to understand about dogs. I had a client recently whose dog, they don't want the dog on the bed at night, okay? And the dog tends to jump up on the wife's side of the bed. No offense to any wives out there, okay? But so here's the thing. You have to look at this in terms of doorways, meaning the dog perceived the way of getting up on the bed was through that doorway next to the wife. So when the wife said no and created that rule, it didn't resonate with the dog that the entire bed was off limits, just that access point. So the dog then goes around to the husband's side. And then the husband says no, that access point is denied. And then it goes around to the end of the bed. The dog tries to get up. One of them puts him back down. That access point is denied. See, if we were to tell our kids, you're not allowed to stand up on the coffee table, we would hope that they would understand it. To a dog, we have to say and repeat ourselves at every access point that you're not allowed to do it so that they fully understand the rule of it. So in this context, this pointer keeps going, this, I can't go this way. Can I go this? Oh, I can't go this way. Can I go no, I can't go this way. So as much as we look at it and go, why doesn't this guy get it? To him, he's doing the dog thing. He's trying to find where that open access point is that he can actually get to where he wants to get to. So another thing too, this husky is the YouTube channel's guys, that's his other dog. So just so you know. So I actually had to watch this interaction a couple of times to fully understand what happened. And then so in this moment, also too, do you see the choke chain here on the dog? So that should be a no-go, right? It's kind of hidden underneath there. Make sure nothing gets caught, teeth, collars, whatnot. So what's going to happen is she's going to go up, and just before she puts her chin on the back of the pointer actually goes to put his chin on the back of Dale, which is what you're seeing the reaction to. So watch the pointer's head and chin, okay, not the husky. See right there? Really subtle, right? So he corrected the pointer, and there's your reset shake, right? I just put a post up about this. So this is that pointer's way of releasing that thing that just happened to him that was a tense moment for him. Got to let that go. So my interpretation of this is that the Golden wants to play, but Dale's not letting him. And Dale's very tense, so the Golden's going, dude, whatever you need, we'll do. Like, I don't care. I have no problem with this. And in that moment, so the husky actually takes Dale's focus away. He had to pick a priority here. He either has to deal with the Golden or deal with the husky. He chose to deal with the husky for a moment. So he broke away from the Golden to deal with the husky. Right there. Just checked it out. Now he's back to the Golden, back to the husky. Still with the husky. Husky's leaving. See, the husky wants to, this is the love triangle. The husky wants to play with the Golden, the Golden wants to play with the Husky, and Dale's going, I'm pretty tense about this whole thing. So the Golden's like, you got it, dude. We'll just do whatever. You just need me to stand here. I'll stand here. I don't want any conflict whatsoever. None. Like, and the Golden's being great about it. He's doing the best that he can. Because he's sensing all the tension from Dale. And see, it's not necessarily a flight mode, but he was like, okay, if that's what has to happen, then I'm just going to walk away. It's an amazing decision by the Golden to just walk away from a tense moment. Like, that's a social dog that understands, like, I'm just out of here. Nothing good is going to come of this. That's all. I think. Yeah. See, just like even the Gray Pit knew that this guy wanted to play, right? Like he read it, he felt it, he understood it. So yeah. Yeah, Caitlin, so this guy got like 75,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel just from all this kind of stuff. So if I wish I had a dog park near me, I would be doing this every single day. I mean, it's fascinating to watch it. We're lucky enough that we get to sit here and I can rewind it and replay and you know, we get to learn from it. But you know, when it's happening full speed right in front of us, then it's a little bit different. So any other questions about this interaction here? Good. Yeah, Christine.
One thing I noted, well, like again, the Golden Retriever did walk away in the like after a while, but when like he's still a very he's a confident and like social dog, and he wants to play.
Yep.
What about are we gonna? I don't know if this is in any of the videos you're gonna see. Like my dog does these really elaborate. She's quite socially submissive or not confident, and she does these really elaborate displays of being submissive, like crouching like a puppy.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's interesting. Like none of these dogs so far have chosen to act submissive. Like they're generally, well, they like say the Mastiff was anxious and a bit and frightened and seemed like maybe a young dog who was overwhelmed.
Yes.
And the Golden, he's not like these dogs aren't overwhelmed. They're just navigating this situation. Anyway, I'm interested in the choices that like that some of the dogs that are being told off are making. Anyway, just I'm not sure I had a specific question.
Okay. So my last video may be it may help you out a little bit as far as a dog being overwhelmed. But I mean, at a dog park, you're probably going to see more of the social kind of dogs. Dogs that are on the more submissive side are always going to make themselves look smaller. So you're going to see a hunch in their back. You're going to see them curl up. You may see them go into a fetal position down on the ground. To me, that dog is overwhelmed and should be around a less amount of dogs or a dog that isn't as forward. Because even one dog can come on so strong that it makes the dog go right over, which is natural. I mean, it's, you know, they're trying to make themselves look not threatening.
Well, to me, it sometimes seems like an elaborate ploy to defuse the other dogs because pretty soon they'll erupt in play. But anyway, it's an interesting phenomenon that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way too, is that dogs don't want conflict. You think about the amount of signals that they give before a fight actually happens. There are, I mean, the big ones that we see, there's probably a dozen. And then there's probably even more that's dog language that we don't even pick up, you know? But from anything from, you know, eye contact to lunging, there are so many steps in between. So they're always, even the submissive dogs, they're trying to diffuse any situation that they absolutely can because they just don't want to, they don't want to have to. That's just who those types of dogs are. So it's not, I think you're correct in assessing like it's trying to diffuse the situation, because it for sure is. The only thing with those dogs, I will tell you from experience, having an excited, submissive dog in a social setting can be a nightmare. Because
Especially a
they're,
kitty.
yeah, because they're so excited, but they'll give in quickly, but they have so much energy. So they become a target to many dogs to just, you got to calm down. You're just so wound, but then they go, nope, sorry. All the attention goes away, then they get up and then they take right back off again. So they only understand things like in moments. They don't, they have to be taught. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting how many times other dogs try to teach excited submissive. So the goal is to, if you have an excited submissive dog, you have to drain as much energy as you possibly can out of that dog before you socialize them. There's only so much you can take out of a tank of gas, right? I mean, you can't take that dog to a dog park to drain energy, because then it can cause fights. That's all there is to it. It's just too much energy.
Or they just come home too excited, more excited than they were.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Hey,
All right.
Ann, this
Yeah.
is Ann. I mean, we're looking at these are, first of all, these are great videos. I'm learning, human body language as well. No.
Yeah.
Back off, walk away. But I think, we have a year and a half old Bishla, and so she is somewhat submissive, but it's like the woman who was speaking earlier, she kind of does the same thing. She'll allow a dog to approach her, and she'll be in that submissive, sitting down, head, maybe she'll even lean her head back, and then sometimes that's when she'll bark or growl or, react. So I know that's probably just, she's again, trying to get space, but it's weird because to me, it's like, it seems to me as a human that she's actually going and going towards the situation and engaging. And then all of a sudden it's just too much. And I don't know what it is, because it's not like that with every single, it's not like that with every single dog.
Right.
So.
Right. So she'll get into like more of a submissive posture before she reacts. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
then there are some dogs that we walk past, and
sure.
She's just like, I'm gonna tell you immediately that I don't like you, or they bark and she barks. Right?
So in those types of situations, that's how nervousness can manifest itself.
Right.
So I remember way back when I was doing this out of my home, I had a dog, appeared to be social, outside of the fence. I brought her inside, and as soon as a couple of dogs got near, she laid completely over on her side. And I was like, wow, okay. That was like, it seemed like a lot to me for such an early interaction.
Right.
Early on in the interaction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so when they started sniffing her, she just went all teeth.
Right.
Like lips go up and everything. And to me, that is a nervousness where they're just kind of like, I don't want to have to, like, oh my gosh. And so
overwhelmed, nervous, right?
Yes. Okay. So if you see that situation, that's where you have to be like the Mastiff lady and send the dog away. Because that is, I will tell you, that is always a two-way conversation. Meaning, one of the conversations is you're telling this other dog, like, this is my space. She belongs to me, and I'm going to do everything that I can to control the space around my dog. Right. So that's the first conversation with the unknown dog.
Yeah.
Yes. The second conversation is your dog actually sees you as the one that provided all the space to allow her to change her state of mind and get more comfortable.
Okay.
All the while your back was to her because you moved her off.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So just advocate for her more is really what it comes down to. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I will play this one. This one is about a minute or so long, so I'll play it right up until. This one's a little bit more intense.
Back up. He's excited, huh? Hey! Hey! Back up! Hey! Back up! Back up! Back up!
So, a little different intensity here, right? One thing to know, so this is either a Belgian Malinois or a Malinois mix of some sort. I call them the Ferrari of dogs because you better know what the hell you're doing with this kind of dog. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble. That's number one. Number two, they have a motor like no other. They love to work. They'll keep working. And when you think they're done working, they want to actually just start working. So they are a serious breed. That's number one. Number two, this dog appears not to have any energy drain before it came to the dog park. So now we're dealing with all this energy going into it. All right. So let's take a look at this. You can obviously see how this guy carries himself. He's pretty confident in what he does. The other part of it, when people have Belgian Malinois and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing with those dogs, everything that they set forth to do, they usually accomplish. So with accomplishments comes a lot of confidence. You know, they get challenged, they accomplish. They get challenged, they accomplish. I mean, there's a reason why these are like police dogs and dogs in the war and military dogs and dogs that are jumping out of helicopters into the ocean. There's reasons why these dogs do what they do. So in this setting, it's a lot of energy to bring in. See, he obviously wants to get to the back of this husky, which it is a female. And in this moment, you can see how overwhelmed she was. So the tail got tucked for a moment before she actually was able to, the flight mechanism kicked in a little bit here, mildly, but it kicked in a little bit. Also, this Gray Pitty, every time he taps this dog in the face, it's a signal. So I didn't go through, but I mean, you could probably rewatch this and like with a clicker, count how many times, like one of those like car parking clickers, count how many times he's actually touched this dog to say like, you need to back off. It's all communication. See all these little nose punches, and even there, the paw up on the back, like, dude, I really don't want to have to do anything beyond this, but you're clearly not taking any signals whatsoever. So because he's not taking any signals, the pit bull takes it further. See, he's like, I'm just going to ignore the pit bull. I just want to get to the husky.
All right. Hey.
Even after all that, he still goes to the husky.
Back up.
You hear the big reset shake from the Gray Pitty there? Like that was a big one from that last little interaction.
He's excited, huh?
See? So here's the thing about this scenario here. I don't know if you could hear it, but there's somebody off in the distance calling, and I think it's probably the Malinois owner. Why he isn't right next to the Malinois after the previous 30 seconds went down, I have no idea. Even if he's across the park, he needs to come back and get his dog because that is like way too much. Way too much. So in this scenario, the owner of the Gray Pitty here, you hear him hollering, right? Like he's going really deep with his voice. Not my cup of tea, but it works for what he's doing here. But you will, this is the difference too. So the Gray Pitty was trying to tell this dog off and tell this dog off and tell this dog off. So the Malinois is not getting the point. So the Pitty's got to go further with it and more intense and more intense and more intense. And because the Malinois still doesn't take it, it turns into a fight, which I'm telling you, these dogs love to just do whatever. So if he wasn't there, it probably would have turned into a fight. But the repetition of this guy telling him to go or leave or whatever he was saying, finally, if you listen to how many times he says this before the dog finally is like, oh, maybe I should go. Like, that's how many times it took to tell this guy.
Back up. Hey, back up.
See, it's actually making him move. And his pit bull's right there, like his sidekick, going, yeah, let's get him, Dad. Like, let's get this guy out of here. That's his analysis. I'm skipping it. Do you guys have any questions about this interaction? Because it's definitely more tense. Yeah, Christine.
Is the pity like, so he lives with the husky, right?
Yep.
And then is he, I mean, he's not, is he sort of just protecting his property, like protecting his women folk, or protecting, like he's not looks like the Malinois wants to mount the husky, and the pity is saying like, oh no, and maybe he's not protecting her, but it's like, she's mine, you're not going to get her. Like, what do you think is going on in his mind that he's particularly taking offense to this Malinois?
So I can only go by my interpretation, right? Because we don't truly know what's going through his head. But I think the pity's reading the situation correctly and understanding that this Malinois is coming in with a lot of energy, and his husky sister here doesn't have the confidence to get this guy off of her. So because she's getting overwhelmed, I feel like he's stepping in to be like, I have to do this. If she had the confidence, he could probably sit back and be like, yeah, buddy, good luck with her, right? Like, and he could watch the whole thing go down. But she doesn't have the confidence. He's got more of the confidence to do it. He's not afraid to jump in there and tell this dog to back up. And the Malinois's got a lot of energy. I mean, I've watched, many videos that this guy has. I really haven't seen. I thought that pointer had a lot of energy coming into this scenario in that other video. This Malinois is like firing on all cylinders for a dog park setting. I mean, I know they got more when they're like working, but in this scenario, I feel like he's got a lot of energy. So yeah. Any other questions? Good. Okay. Let's go to. So this may be a little bit, hold on, let's get this straight here. Okay, we'll watch this one.
Judy, come. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come. Judy, ease up. Hey, 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 hey.
So it's crazy what a 24-second video will provide you. But in this context, and this may touch a little bit on Christine and Anne here with your dogs, as far as like the ones that are getting overwhelmed a little bit. So like I said, this is one of my clients from the Canines and Culture program, and I've worked with them in person. So I've seen the black dog name is Juniper. I don't know what the poodle dog is, and they didn't either. It was nobody that they knew. So these dogs don't know each other. And so Juniper is not a confident dog either. So she's certainly not going to tell another dog off and follow through and, be very confident in her body language. So you see this body language here, even from a distance and it not being like perfectly HD view wise, you can see, look at the difference in the tails from the white dog to Juniper here with her tail down. And she's in the midst of trying to avoid this situation as well. So you see she's already kind of like bounced back, trying to stay away from this dog. And you can actually see very little bit. You can see the hackles up on her shoulders and a little bit back on her butt. So here's the thing about hackles. Hackles represent stimulation. They don't represent aggression. Okay. A lot of times, and for many, many years, it was taught that hackles meant a dog's going to be aggressive. So we also have to think about stimulation, that it can come in both positive and negative form. So you may watch a scary movie and get covered in chills because it's so scary and so suspenseful. For me, if I see one of my kids do something that I'm super proud of, I'm going to get the chills. I'm going to get goosebumps. So we have to put it, again, into context to what's happening. In this context, she's not thrilled about this situation. So you're getting that stimulation coming out in that display. So you can see she's even like turning herself sideways to the dog. Now, I understand her owner, and I talked to her about this too. Her owner's trying to get her to come to her. In this moment, what do you think is more valuable at this time? Getting away from this dog or going back to her owner? Because in this context, she just wants to get away from this dog. So as the owner, now, granted, she's also videoing this to be able to show me what's going on with her dog too. So this is like a double-edged sword where she has to sit and watch this so she can show me what's happening. So that then I can guide her into how to help and advocate for her dog. So this is like a much more severe version of the Mastiff in the sense of her getting way more overwhelmed. So I instructed her, like, you need to either put a long leash on the dog so that you can go and at least stop her from moving, and then address the white dog. So because these dogs are romping out in a field, you're never going to catch them, let alone in snow. Like, never. You're going to end up trying to dive for a dog or fall on a dog, like something. And nothing good is going to come out of that whole scenario at all.
Come on.
So I don't know if you noticed that, and I'm going to try to see if I can. You're going to see her pause for a quick second and face the dog. Right there. Did you see that? It's really subtle. Right there. Everybody see it? We're like splitting hairs here, I know. So that is the first time where she actually was like, hey, stop this. Or she tried to do it, but she doesn't have it in her to do it. God bless her. And she's a sweetheart. She just doesn't have that confidence in her. Do you guys have a question? Did Anne or Christine, did you guys have a question or no? No? Okay.
I do, kind of.
Okay.
Is the white dog, is the poodle chasing, just trying to engage in play, or is it, do you think they sometimes just get like the bully? I don't know. Is it sort of, do you think it could be prey drive or just trying to engage Juniper? Or
I think that white dog is a happy-go-lucky dog that just wants to play, has no bad intentions whatsoever, probably is social, but just not picking up on the cues. And then the owner's not picking up on the cues. So just like Juniper's owners should be advocated for, the poodle's owner should be like, I think my dog might be overwhelming that dog. I need to slow him or her down a little bit. So it does go both ways. But of course, when neither owner does anything, now the dogs are going to do what they feel is necessary at the time, which is going to be based purely on instincts, and we can't blame them for that. It's just who they are and what they have in them. And now her flight mode really kicked in because she's running, right? And she still had that little tuft of hair up on her back. So this black dog over here came in to kind of see what's going on just because they were running around so much.
Judy, ease up.
And then Juniper, through all this time, so we saw 24 seconds or 22 seconds, and this is the first time she was like, get off me. The first time. So in a way, it's nice to see a dog say, hey, back off, but we certainly don't want that dog to have to experience the previous 22 seconds in order to get there. right? We want to be able to see it in a more natural way for the dog to understand, like, hey, if I just do this, it creates the space and the dog goes away and everything's fine. And then after this, she shut the camera off to go over and deal with her dog. It's funny. I get a lot of body language videos sent to me where as soon as things start to go awry, they turn it off, which I get. But the dog trainer in me goes, man, I wish I could see what happened and how it was addressed and whatnot. So we'll watch this back from the beginning again. You guys see how much she's overwhelmed?
Judy, come on. It's Anne. Now I do. Because normally if you're watching your dog like running around with another dog, you think, oh, they're getting such great exercise, or oh, my dog's super fast, you get away. So it's like it's really interesting to see the dog is constantly changing direction. Not necessarily for play, but to get away from try and create some space.
Right. Like, look at how many times this dog changes.
What's interesting to me too is that, and maybe Christina has, like, the Juniper isn't coming back to her owner, right?
Yeah.
She's not, I mean, maybe she is there, but because sometimes, they'll try, like the Mastiff was attached, but I'm surprised that this dog didn't come back to its owner to try and even like seek, support in a way.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes it turns into self-preservation for them.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to think that. And the other part of it too is, even though dogs are technically scientifically classified as predators, it doesn't mean that they can't have a prey state of mind. Right? So obviously obviously this dog's not getting chewed on, and I would like to think that it doesn't think that it's going to die, but the dog wants to get away, clearly. So the flight mechanism is trying to kick in, but it can't outrun the poodle. So because it can't outrun the poodle, that's when you finally see her turn and she tried once, the poodle was right there and she's like, nope, that didn't work. And then she had to kick it up a notch, just like the Gray Pitty did in the previous video. He had to kick it up a notch in order to tell the Malinois, like, dude, that's enough. So, yeah.
Okay.
Christine, does that help you with understanding with your dog a little bit?
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking at the very beginning that Juniper was trying to get back to her owner, but the poodle was sort of hurting her in the opposite direction, and that she would have, because the dark dog was always sort of in the background and the poodle was between the videographer and Juniper. But yeah, I find it's really like sometimes when they're playing, they're right on the edge between, like, it seems like the most fun play is when it's a little bit scary, but not really scary. And then, and so it is really hard to make it's hard to read. Like, sometimes you watch this sort of thing and then you realize, oh, my dog's not having any fun at all. But at the very beginning, it sort of looks like they're trying to have fun. And then the other dog just comes on too strong, or won't read their signals, or doesn't take turns, doesn't back off.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've seen that Juniper's behavior a lot with my dog, and then she keeps wheeling around, and then she'll show her teeth. She does turn around and like, I don't want her to fight, obviously.
Right.
And then now I'm realizing that it's probably a good time to get her out of that situation.
So here's the thing. Right. I would do my best not to get her out of the situation. I would do my best to recover in that situation and then leave. Because you don't want her last memory to be teeth, scared it away, I'm out. Especially if it's in an environment that you want to keep bringing your dog back to. What you want to do there is create the recovery. So you go in, you advocate for your dog, you create some space. But depending on where you are, put your dog on leash or just walk around, let everything settle, let the dust settle, and then walk out.
It seems like if they're close enough, if they're all in a close enough, you can sometimes even just walk in between them. Like, you're not putting your hands in between them, but you just start wading in when there's a bunch of them. And sometimes they'll two will gang up on one or something. And then mine is always getting ganged up on. And then I just wade in there and start separating from her.
Just create space.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Caitlin, go ahead.
So I foster a lot of dogs. And
Oh.
I think I've been working really hard with like our connection and can actually recall her out of like some chaos and all that.
Excellent.
She's she's that black dog most of the time that will come in and break up the chaos. Like she wants chill, which is great. I love it. She's taught a couple that just have no, like, they have no idea what's expected. She'll come in and correct them, like, fuck off, basically, and
Right.
and I
Right.
do that for a little while, and then if the dog is like really not getting it, I'll start stepping in. And then over time, you teach that dog, and with her help, right? Because she's fairly balanced, that you'll teach that puppy, to start to respect space and stuff, right?
Yeah.
My question is that poodle, say it was like a more perfect scenario where maybe it's just them two playing, and this scenario happens, and the poodle was so the owner of Juniper was able to step in and like send the poodle away.
Yep.
Would you just like kind of keeping that, you're then acting as not protecting Juniper, but you're like,
No, but like a liaison kind of.
you're advocating, right? You're like, no,
Yeah.
poodle, calm down. Like, this is not what this is not appropriate.
Right.
And then diffuse it and wait until they're, less heightened. And then you're like, okay, we're done, we're leaving.
That would be my focus, is I would step in, I would send the poodle away. If I have to do that a number of times, I have to do it a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to teach the poodle is, depending on how long you're there and all repetitions and stuff, what I'm going to teach the poodle is, you're allowed to be in our space, but not in that state of mind, because you're overwhelming my dog. And so then if if you're dealing with something with Juniper, then you're dealing with it around a dog that's more social. You guys can build up to play. That would be the goal, right? And a lot of times when two dogs meet, they have to figure each other out before the game actually starts. There's a lot of back and forth and figuring, right? And how do you play? And this is how I play. This poodle went right into it like, this is how we play, right? And Juniper's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how. So this is when the overwhelming part comes in. And so for me, I would totally create some distance with the poodle until she chills out. And then she can come into the space while we're moving around, as long as I don't see Juniper feel overwhelmed. Like, if she can look at the dog and be like, yeah, okay, all right, and we're walking along, then great. We're going to ride that wave as long as we possibly can. So yeah, to me, it's more about state of mind. And if Juniper is overwhelmed, then it's up to me to advocate for her. It's funny, I put all these videos together. I didn't think this, like, the advocating part was going to come out of this call, but we can see this from us as the dog owner's point of view compared to our dogs, of like the Mastiff getting overwhelmed, the Malinois not being paid attention to, not being close to. The Pointer was a really good interaction, just dog talking back and forth. But then, both Juniper's owner here and the Poodle's owner as well. Like, these are things that we as dog owners want to understand and pay attention to. So this right here, the phone, is one of our greatest assets when it comes to our dogs. I wish people would record more, because you look at how many times I hit replay here and how many times we go back through. The cool part with your phone is that you can actually go slow motion and you can see things frame by frame to really break it down. But if you have any questions about body language, bring somebody along with you so that you can at least address or advocate your dog if you need to, and just tell them to hit record and don't turn it off until you say when. So you can go back and watch it over and over again. Have you ever watched one movie more than once? I'm guessing most people have. The more you watch that movie, the more you pick things up. You're like, oh, I never noticed that in the background. Oh, I never noticed that car. I never noticed that person. Because in the beginning, we're all looking at the big stuff. The more we look at it, the movie over and over again, the more we start to take in. So that's when hitting replay and watching it over and over and over again, especially Caitlin, if you're fostering dogs, those are the times to Just set your phone on a bookcase or on a shelf and let it ride. You pick out the stuff you want, you delete the rest, and you call it good. But those are the things that you can do to help understand your own dogs. Because you think about being overwhelmed as a person. I'm sure you've all felt it. We've all felt being overwhelmed, but I don't know if we've all felt physically overwhelmed, meaning there's somebody in our space that just won't leave us alone, and we keep walking away and they keep following us. That's different than like, oh my gosh, I have this stack of papers that I have to do and I have to write 10 pages, and right, that's a different kind of overwhelming. When you have a physical being that's constantly in your space running after you and you want zero to do with it, that's completely different. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Anybody have any questions about these videos? I'm hoping this was super helpful to you guys. It's these that I picked out. I'm probably going to email everybody like a little survey, because this is the first one that I've done, and I want to keep doing this, and I want to keep educating and stuff. So I think it's very helpful. And you guys can all open up your mics here if you want to too, if you want to have kind of a chit chat. I've got a few minutes here before I got to go pick up my son for school, but anybody want to share anything?
I think a couple of terms that you use are really helpful for me as a human to understand. Like you said recovery. Like you're absolutely right. We're like, and we're trying to get our dog or out of the situation, but we're not thinking about the imprint or whatever that has made. And so that recovery process, if maybe we're going to go past that same, rock or that same park every day, we have to like make it a better experience. I love that. Thank you so much for that word.
You're welcome. I think it's important too, because it's like, to give you an example, if somebody has two dogs at home that are fighting, a lot of times when those dogs fight, what we do is just separate.
Right.
We never truly recover from that situation, so that when they come back together, that's what they remember. So then it happens again, and then we separate, and then that becomes stronger and more intense. Gates go up, dogs left in rooms, they never come across each other, everybody's on leash, crate and rotate. It's a whirlwind, and it's bad news. So instead of they get into a fight and we go, okay, we're going to control this, we're going to recover from this. This is not going to be the last thing you guys remember. So if it's grabbing another family member and you guys just going for a walk with the dogs together, we're going to do that, because we're going to drain this energy, and we're not finishing. I'm not separating you in that moment. So that's the more drastic version of it.
Another angle on that, like my first dog was a scrap. Well, it was 25 years ago, and I didn't know very much at all. But he was
none of us did.
he got into quite a lot of scraps, and he also was neutered quite late, and he was a stray, and there were many reasons. He's very reactive to intact dogs, but he got in a lot of scraps. And what I noticed from some of my readings too, like the first thing humans do, because they're so appalled by the overt aggression, is they get their dogs on leash and they walk away. And then I sort of have this feeling like both dogs are feeling like, oh, my behavior made that guy go away.
Yeah.
And then my feeling, if it was a new dog in the neighborhood and I wanted the two to get along, I'd just plead with the other owner to not leave. Like, let's just keep our dogs on leash 20 feet apart, and we can talk about anything, talk about movies, or now you could look in your phone, and just let those dogs come to and realize, and start looking around and realize, like, that guy's not a devil.
Yeah.
And if I behave this way, I'm not going to get attacked, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's to help a lot with the next time they met.
Yeah, because we have to think of things in terms of reinforcement for the dog. So if they lunge and lash out and the owner hooks up that other dog and they take off, the dog goes, okay, yeah, that felt good. Yeah, that's all I have to do. Man, I wish somebody had told me that 2 years ago. I'll do it every time now. It can be that strong of an imprint for dogs to just like lash out and realize, oh, that's all it takes. Okay, that's easy. I'll just keep doing it. Yeah. Yep. Anybody else have anything to share?
What I usually do when two dogs fight, not necessarily I have, just let me explain. I have a daycare and hotel here in Brazil.
Excellent.
Yeah. And when two dogs fight, what we usually do, not always we have the time to go and walk with them. Like you said, that's things that we like to do and we always do when we introduce these kind of dogs.
Yep.
But when we don't have the time for the walk, we usually just put them together. And one of us or two of us stay there with them. They have to sit or lay, or they can walk around, but controlling the situation and controlling how they look at each other, how the energy goes from one another, but we do not separate them.
Yep.
We leave them there together and try to show them that they don't have to fight, they don't need to fight, and that's how we rule things there, you know?
Yeah, that's the
So
recovery. Perfect
yeah.
recovery.
I like Anne, I think, said, I love the word recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because look, dogs, they're not perfect, right?
No.
They're going to make their
not.
mistakes. We're
Yeah.
human. We're going to make our mistakes. I tell my kids
Mhm.
the same thing. It's okay to make mistakes
Mhm.
as long as you recover from it. Now, if you keep making the same mistake over and over again, then we have
Something
something, then we have to talk about it.
Mhm.
But if you can learn from a mistake and understand what you did was wrong as a kid, then great. For dogs, we have to understand that they're not perfect. They're going to run into an off-leash dog or a dog on the end of the leash that's not being controlled properly, right?
Mhm.
Whatever the case may be. So it's up to us to recover. And in some
Yeah.
rare situations, just getting the hell out of there is
Yeah.
recovery.
Mhm.
Just because there's no chance to recover in that type of situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, the majority of the time, as much as we possibly can, it's about recovery.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's great. I love that that's come out of this today. That's awesome. Good. All right, I'm going to get this uploaded. It's going to be a YouTube link. It's not going to be anything that's shared out in the universe. But I'll get this link recorded and I'll get it
Mhm.
emailed out to you. And I would just ask if you can fill out a little survey. It's just going to be super simple. Nothing that you have to write out, because I want to keep doing this. I can't believe, by the way, you all are very lucky that you got in when you got in. This sold out in 24 hours. And I still have people today sending me the message that they want to be a part of it. So it's unbelievable, the demand for this. So congratulations on getting in.
Thank you.
So, all right. Thank you so much for being a part of this. I apologize for the beginning part. That was a serious overlook, but that won't happen again for sure. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for being a part of my social media community as well. So I know that's the majority of where you came from. So hope you all have a great day and you enjoyed yourself today. And we'll see you around soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.